Hey guys, welcome. Today I am going to be programming the database we were talking about, which is for a gym where people will sign up and stuff. So, before that, I want to explain a few things. You can do commands through the SQL command line, and you can also do it through phpMyAdmin, which is more graphical, just as like typing it in here and clicking create, rather than typing the code. And we are going to be using the code for this because I am teaching you MySQL, not phpMyAdmin. So we'll be using the SQL box. I don't really know what it's called. If you guys know what this is called, tell me. So first thing you want to do is create a database. And the command for that, create database, and then the database name. So we'll just name it test. Now, we usually, all the SQL commands, or all the words recognized by MySQL will be in capital letters, and words you choose will be non-capital letters. So the name, it will be, if you name a database, it will be uncapitalized. Names of columns and tables, they'll be uncapitalized. Basically anything you can change in the everything still works the same, they will be non-capitalized. Alright, so from here, you can go down here and click go. Let me zoom in a bit. Go. It is already created. Whoopsies. Create database test 2. And there you go. Now on the side, this will display all of your databases you have created. So we click test, and there's no tables in that database. Go back to home, you can select test 2, and you can see there's no tables found in that database. So that's how you do that. And you can also click through phpMyAdmin, click databases, and see all of your databases right here. So like test 2, check the privileges for the people, which we haven't set any of those, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna do that. But you can click test, and you can create a new table through this, but we'll be doing it through SQL. Alright, so now we're actually going to create our database. So the first thing you want to do is click SQL up at the top. And from here, you just, like we did, create database, and we're going to name it gym. Simple. Then click go. And on the side, we should have a database named gym. And from here, you want to click the SQL. And now, the very next step is to create your table. So it's very similar to creating a database. You just name it like this, members. That's what we're going to name it, members. Now you put 2 parentheses, and every column in the database you will store in these parentheses. So let's list these. We had, member ID, and I'm also going to put a comma after them. And then we had name, birthday, what else was there? Phone, membership status, and then the last one will have that's all. My bad. So within the commas is where you store the extra information. So the first step is just to name all the columns in your database. It's pretty simple. Now the next thing you want to do is name the type that they are. Now if you remember, member ID was a small int. Name was a varchar, let me put a space there. Whoopsies. Varchar 60. Now you will want to store these in parentheses 60, like that. Birthday was date. Need to work on my typing. That's what I'm gonna do. Phone was char 10, just like that. Membership status was enum. Now for enum, we also need to put the possible options. So to do that, you make 2 parentheses. So whenever you have extra information for the data type, you put them in parentheses. So the first one, in quotations, single quotations, it was gold. Next, then you put a comma and a space. Silver, comma, space, bronze, comma, space, and the last one was not a member. Now it's kind of funny because this table name is members and we made it not a member, but basically that's for people who haven't been able to get a membership status yet. So if they do not have gold, they do not have silver, and they do not have bronze, they're this. For some reason that may happen, and it's better to have the security than having to go back and edit your database. So now that that's done, that's good. Now also, next thing you want to do is put extra characteristics about the columns. So if you remember, this was unsigned, and it was, so we're going to go through any of the numbers and say if they're signed or unsigned, and that's the only one, which is good. So then we put the not null, and if you remember, all of these were not null. So not null, not null, not null. It's like that. Great. Now we go to the primary key, which will be member ID, and we're going to make that auto increment. Oopsies, make sure to spell it right or wrong. But that's going to account for us so we don't have to change it each time. Pretty simple. Now let's see if there's any other things. We're going to have a default for the phone. And doing all this beforehand on the chalkboard makes this easier, so you don't have to think about this too much. So to set a default, you put characteristic default, 2 single quotation marks, and you put the default, which would be the area code 000, 3 digits 000, and then 4 more digits 0000. That leaves us with 10. So that's good. And then we also are going to set a default for the enum. And to do that, we put default, and then in single quotations, not a member. Oops, should be not capitalized. Great, so that pretty much covers all of our columns, but the next thing we want to do is have our indexes. And I didn't talk about this when defining the database, and I probably should have. But I'm going to set an index right now, an index, for the member ID, and that index type will be primary key. Simple as that. Now to define a key, or an index, you say the index type, and then in 2 parentheses, you will put what column. So the column was member ID, just like that. Now if you notice, we have a column after each individual entry into the table. This is to keep each thing separate, but the last one, since there's no other thing after it, we do not need a comma. So this is our complete creation of the table, and it should work. Let's see. Go. And you can see it adds a table members. So everything was good. Now, another thing I wanted to say, actually, I think I'll save it for the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.